Ah, what a beautiful day. First maple boil of the season. Wish all y'all could be here, man. It smells amazing out here. So occasionally gotta skim the foam off. It's natural. Just keep it clean. Figured I'd go live. Some of you guys were asking about my setup. And it's a gorgeous day. It's one of the few days we've had lately that's actually sunny and halfway decently warm. I think today the high is supposed to be 45 or so. Later on in the week it's supposed to be raining, but figured it's a perfect day to do a live and do some boiling. And actually this is the first boil of the season. Just put out a video this afternoon of the tapping and getting this evaporator set up. But for now, it's boil time. And on a beautiful day like this, basically I just hang out in my driveway boiling all day. Go inside to, make lunch, that kind of thing. But the majority of the day is spent out here, tinkering, if you will. Adjusting flow rates to see if you can get it as close to perfect for what you want as possible. So I figured, bring you guys along with. Hey, Weekend Warrior 802. Nice to see you in, Chris.
Does it come up on that too?
Yeah, but if I'm over here, I can't see it. Yeah, that too. So what are you up to today, Chris? Cutting any lumber today, or are you just tractor work, or what do you got going? I wish this smells delicious. I'm going to try to in a fixed position on the tripod more today. A couple people on my last live, the video quality was terrible. I don't know. I'm running a Samsung Galaxy S23, I think, so decent phone, but who knows? Maybe it's just that. So let me know if the visual quality's pretty good today. Let me know. Gotcha. What do you do, Chris? Not the channel, but what are you working on? What do you do for work? Yeah, the aroma smells great, man. It's very mapley, which obviously you'd expect. Oh, use one of the kids' phones to read the comments.
Weekend Warriors telecommunications.
Nice, Chris. Yeah, the aroma smells very mapley, which I realize sounds like duh. But actually, as the season progresses and it gets darker syrup, it's more of a caramely smell than an actual maple smell. It doesn't initially smell quite the same. Tastes better. It smells a little different. But yeah, if you, some days, depending on the atmospheric conditions, this is just an absolute cloud of steam. The amount of evaporations are right about the same. I'm running 18 to 20 gallons an hour, but sometimes the steam is a lot more visible. Last season, I did it in the morning once at like 5 a.m. Man, it was just pouring steam. It looked cool. I did a short video on that. It's on the channel. But it's, and then other times, it's harder to see the steam, but
99 cool chip and zip says hi. Liberty Bleeds Silver says Julio.
hey, Liberty. Nice seeing you, brother. Nice seeing you in here. Let me bring you in, guys. If I don't kick the tripod. So this is a divided pan. Those two long sections there actually have accordions underneath. About 5.5-inch drop flues to give a more surface area for the heat to hit the sap to evaporate or to boil faster. These two sections are flat bottomed. It's like the finishing chambers. And there's where you draw off the final syrup. The professional operations are much similar setups, but obviously vastly larger. Smoky Lake makes this one. They call it a hybrid hobbyist pan. Works quite nicely. For only being a 2 foot by 4 foot pan, it evaporates really, really well. And the assistant's out here enjoying the sun today too. He gets a bed. But while I'm boiling, I also love to, well, kids are out here playing too. I do the run to reverse osmosis as well. This is concentrating the sap from about 2% sugar to almost 9% before it even goes into the pan. So this will run all day as I'm boiling all day. That's a 275 gallon tote. Generally, I can reduce that down to about 80 gallons or so before it even goes into the boil. Bissell Maple Farm, welcome in, my friend. Yeah, in Liberty, that is a nice tractor. It's a Coyote, 35 horse. Bought that a couple years ago. Those rocks are really a pain in the woods because I've been through the woods to collect sap. I just put one of these IBC totes on the back, and I hit a lot of stuff with it. But man, it is a useful tractor. Have to move the vehicles out of where they normally park, but set you back up here. Well, get a slightly different angle. Hey Bissell, what's the sapping season looking like for you guys? I see you have to go. Okay. I was just curious what your season's been like so far, whether you got much going on or not. I know some places are just starting off the season. Some people, Southern Ohio, Indiana, I've heard are even actually almost done with their maple season already. I tapped about 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago. But then the forecast had been for a nice spell of about 8 days in the 40s. We got 3 of them, and then it went cold again. So, kind of shut everything down. Hence why today's the first boil. Collected about 650 gallons of sap in the, well, I had about 200 gallons from a week and a half ago, and then 450 gallons from this last weekend. But then it froze solid, so I couldn't do much with it. In fact, the second IBC tote this morning, I actually had to move it into the sunlight in order to melt it enough to get the RO hose into it. It was just a solid block of ice. Which, ice is nice later on in the season when you're trying to keep everything cool, but not right now. But, oh well. The joys of maple season. You adapt and overcome. But man, this boil's going pretty good. A nice rolling boil. I'm one of the few people I've seen, even on Facebook, using a natural gas evaporator. Most everyone else, obviously, wood's the most common. Some smaller operations use propane. But man, I love this natural gas setup. Inexpensive, easy to use. And from this morning, when I had that sap that was probably just under 30 degrees, I had it to a rolling boil like this in 8 minutes flat. Man, it's fast, efficient, and fairly inexpensive. But, of course, you have to have natural gas where you're boiling. For a lot of guys that have their sugar shacks out in the woods, no natural gas. But if you do, take it. I'm being told that the video quality is pretty lackluster. So I don't know if it's my phone that's doing this.
Look, it's clear on that.
On my phone, it looks very clear. What about you guys? Are you guys seeing it clearly on your side, or is it all pixelated?
Lots of broken signal.
All right.
Can't we try and move the router? Because like that one's not horrible.
It's all pixelated. Huh.
Can we try and move the router? One in the dining room, one this way.
Yeah, you might as well. Let me try the internet up, fixing the internet angle, the Wi-Fi. If that doesn't work, I will switch cameras and do it live with a different one. Sorry about the pixelation, fellas. Kind of surprised. I thought maybe by leaving the camera in the same spot it would work, but apparently that's not the case. See, on my screen it looks quite clear, but it's not very helpful if y'all can't see it. Liberty says it's cutting in and out. Oh, that's strange. Now let's see if changing the router helps this out or not. I was really hoping that leaving it in one place would work, but
Which Wi-Fi are you on? I have Starlink pointed this way. Switch it.
all right, hopefully that'll fix it.
It's still not coming up with the Starlink, which is literally pointed out.
And what you up to today, Liberty? I haven't checked the silver.
The spot on it's clear now.
All right, Liberty says we'll keep running it like this for a few more, see what happens. Nice steamy. So what's the weather like everywhere for you guys? Still nice weather, or? Okay then. Apparently someone else thinks it's nice weather. Dirt bike going down the road, popping a wheelie. I live on a fairly busy road, probably one of the top 3 or 4 busiest side roads in the county, and well, it's busy today. But of course that's why I got natural gas, because it's a bigger road. More of a main drag. But then I'll end up putting a little roadside stand out, and that sells the syrup pretty well. My kids helped me make it. Before I started this channel, I had called the syruping business Red Barn Sugar Shack, because I have some old red barns. So we actually made the roadside stand with a gambrel roof, just like a barn, painted it red and all that. It works very well for selling the syrup. I get a lot of business from people just driving by and seeing it.
Weekend Warrior says it's 42 and something.
Nice, Chris. 42 up there in Vermont. Very nice. So actually the weather is very similar to here today. Only a couple degrees different. After so long of I don't know about up there, but certainly here we had a very, very cold winter, which is great for syruping season. That really deep cold, deep frost. It's not nearly as pleasant. It's been a very cold, dreary winter. What?
That dog is going over there.
What's wrong with the dog going over there?
He's over there.
Oh, he's over there. But what if he wants to smell over here?
He can't.
He can't smell over here?
It don't matter.
Are you enjoying the sunny day?
Yes.
All right. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
One of my assistants. More playing than assisting today, but it's
Bye.
bye. Yeah, I've played around with this setup. This is all custom made. Since I hadn't seen anyone else using natural gas and I really wanted to use natural gas, I had to do a lot of this was figuring it out on my own. A couple YouTube videos with smaller setups, but this was actually a 275 gallon or 300 gallon fuel oil tank. Cut it down. Had a friend do the welding of the top and the side posts because I wanted it very level. And while I can weld, it's not ideal welds. So he welded that up for me. And then I've played around with the height of the burners, how much air they take, how much room they need underneath for airflow. Like I tried to have a smaller one and put like forced air. That didn't do great. Last year I added the exhaust stack. That helped out a bit. So I kind of been tweaking it, but this setup seems to work pretty good. I can get up to, I think my best was about 21 gallons an hour of evaporation. This pan supposedly, according to the manufacturer, can do more like 24 gallons an hour, but I don't know how you would get to that.
Big Boy Rail 2.0 says it's 50s in Independence, Missouri.
50 in Missouri, very nice. Seems like the weather's fairly consistent around well, at least the Midwest and Northeast. Yeah, I don't know if with a even hotter wood fire, maybe you could get better evaporation, but I don't know, because I've got, each of these burners is supposed to put out something like 300,000 BTUs of power, and I got 2 of them. I don't know how I could go a whole lot more than that, but 20 gallons an hour, that's solidly good for a 2 foot by 4 foot pan. And then by the time you multiply that by the RO system and how fast that's going, I can get a lot done. I think I had about 650 gallons of sap in the totes this morning. I'm not going to get it all boiled today because I didn't actually start the boiling itself till noon. But I would say that 600 gallons is going to take me about probably 12 hours or so to evaporate. Which, of course, is, what, 50 some odd gallons an hour if you take it in total? That'd be nice. The RO is quite the game changer. It's a lot of work to set up, and it's time consuming. I would rather just do this, because this is actually my favorite part of the entire maple syruping production system. But you just can't beat the speed and convenience of the RO. And it can run jointly. I'm running the RO and running the pan at the same time. Makes for a nice day. Just chilling. Enjoying the smells. And of course, cup of Joe. Really enjoy it, especially in the mornings. It took me a while to get this set up this morning because all of this was in the barn for the summer storage this morning. So I brought it all out, set it up. It took longer than expected. A lot of that's in that video I posted this afternoon, but that's why I didn't get to boiling till noon. Had the RO going earlier, but got this going about noon, so I'll probably run till 8 or 9 tonight. But tomorrow morning I'll start it up early again. And it is so fun to come out here in the early morning hours. No traffic on the road, maybe some birds chirping, and boil. Beautiful. For a while. Like anything else, this is about a 5 to 6 week season. By the time you go from the first boil to the last will probably be, well, this year might be a little shorter, probably at least 4 weeks. By the end of that, I'm kind of getting done. You know, it's kind of more of a hassle and a chore, but especially early on, it's just so much fun. Of course, on the rainy days, I boil in the rain too, but then it's a lot less pleasant. And it actually hurts the evaporation rate. Of course, not only just the moisture water coming in, but the more moisture in the air, it seems like the moisture can't escape the sap as quick. I would go down normally 14 or 15 gallon hour evaporation then. Still something, but can't beat a good day like today, especially with the light breeze to push the steam off. It's good times. You guys have any questions? Anything you want to see on the setup? Have any questions about maple syrup? I know, Mac Airy, you had some earlier, and I hope I answered a couple of them in the comments. But what else you got for me? Be happy to show you, tell you how I do it, right or wrong. Yeah, my better half pointed out, if it's on YouTube, it's automatically wrong. That comes from a couple chainsawing videos I did with Heath over at Hardworking Man. I've been cutting firewood since I was probably 13 with a chainsaw. I think at 14 my dad allowed me to buy my own saw, an old Stihl 028. But so I've been running saws for years, and man, I got tore up in the comment section about people saying I couldn't run a chainsaw, I didn't know what I was doing. It was dangerous for Heath to let a rookie with a chainsaw. It was funny. Some of the comments made me laugh, but everyone has their own way of doing things. Maple's going to be no different, right? Everyone has their own ideas as to how to boil, but it's a good time. Been doing this since I was about 2 or 3 years old with my grandpa. Would always go up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan every year for generally 4 or 5 days to help grandpa, and I have so many memories of that. His was a wood-fired system, about the same size. It was just a flat pan, but we would go around the yard collecting sticks to feed the fire, and of course, you know, that burns for all of 3 seconds flat, but as a kid, that was fun. And then, of course, as the older you got, the more of the work you had to take over, but it was a good time. Then for an early part of my career, I lived down south, and we didn't have any maples, so I couldn't do any syruping, but about 10, 11 years ago, we got this place, and I've got 235 taps out between my property and immediately adjacent. This was it's been farmed since like the 1850s, but they left all the big maples right along the property line, so of course they spawned smaller maples on both sides of the property line. Thankfully, my neighbors don't do much on this side of the river, and they just let me tap. If you've watched any of my tapping videos, you see the big river bank, right? Well, my property is basically along the top of the river bank. Anything down the hill is the neighbors. But I give him a couple jars of syrup as a thank you, and he enjoys it, so it's good. I got a couple other properties that I can put taps out on, but for the right now, I'm just doing here. Pedro Lucas, nice seeing you in. Thanks for watching, my friend. Yeah, I think Heath generally has about 125 taps that he could put out at his place. With his accident and everything, he's kind of been a little bit toned down this year. I don't know if he's going to be able to get taps out or not, but he'll normally bring me sap. And then I've got 2 properties, one about 1.5 miles down the road, the other one about 10 miles the other way, that I could put out, I don't know, 300 or 400 taps even. I could put a lot out at each one, but I collect on bags. I don't have the vacuum line set up that a lot of like the big professional type places have. And the 235 taps we have here takes the family and I a good 3 to 4 hours to collect. So when it's busy, I can't collect 800-900 taps worth on bags. It's just, I don't have the time to do it, especially working a full-time job, so. Hey, Gemini. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you watching, my friend. So, future years, maybe I'll put more out as the kids get older. Maybe I'll have someone else collect for me. I don't know. I could definitely scale up a lot, but there's also only a certain amount of market for retail sale of syrup in this area. There are several other large, well, my size large operations area. I think in the county I know them. You certainly can, but the price is significantly less. And now from the amount of effort to the price is kind of, you got to weigh that out.
How much?
Mr. Fish, thanks for showing up, my friend. Thanks for watching. Mac area, sap per tap, it depends on the tree. Now, in this area, we have sugar maples, red maples, and silver maples. The silvers and the red maples have a little bit less sap and a little bit less sugar content than the sugars. Also, exactly where the tree is. The ones on the slope tend to be the best for me. I don't know. My neighbor down the road 1.5 miles, I put out 50 taps last year at his place, and it was significantly less sap than mine. Mine, I generally get about 25 gallons of sap per year per tap. Now, I have a few trees that I have 2 taps on, and that's factored in, right? I take the total amount of gallons collected, divide it by the number of taps I have out. But generally, I get about 25 gallons. Last year wasn't a very good year. It was cold, 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 and then immediately went into highs in the 60s and 70s. So the season was short, and it hadn't gotten super cold over the winter. It was just kind of like 20s and low 30s. I think I averaged 16 gallons per tap last year. So it does vary year to year based on the weather. It varies on each tap. I haven't figured it out based on ones, but I know what my top like 5 or 6 taps are, and I would not be surprised if a couple of those are actually more like 30, 32 gallons a year. I do have a few that don't do quite as well, but probably somewhere, I would say most the last 10 years out, I would say probably about 20 gallons a tap. I like the years that's 25 or 27 gallons a tap, but not every year can be a great year. This year it's interesting. Normally I tap a little earlier, a couple weeks earlier. We didn't get to start having a really good run until like March 1st or February 28th, right? That's a little bit late normal for us. I'm hoping the weather holds out, but normally by April 1st rather, it's already too warm. The lows are in the 40s or upper 30s. I need highs above freezing and lows below freezing for the sap to go up and down the tree. Some of which to come out in the hole, of course. So I can get away with a day or two in a row where the highs are, or the lows rather, are like 38, 39. But if I go for 5, 6 days in a row, the lows don't get below freezing, there's no sap. The sap just stops. And then with the highs being in the 60s and 70s, bacteria starts to grow and the sap spoils within, I don't know, hours of coming out of the tree. So it becomes very difficult to do anything with. So generally, end of March is about end of my season. So I'm worried this year there might be a short season compared to some, but if the sap flow is anything like it was this last weekend, it'll make up for it. It'll be short and sweet, which may work out very well for me. I've got an opportunity at work that may pop up that's going to drastically alter my next few weeks. We'll see. It's one of.
Thanks for subbing me.
It's one of those hurry up and wait type of things with work. Of they might send me out of town, but you have to volunteer and then sit there and wait. It could be end of the month. It could be next week. Don't know. But it'll be fun if we do. So I'm glad that we're getting sap early in the season so that I can still make a bunch of maple syrup. But yeah, we'll see. The season's been all right so far. If it continues like I'm expecting, today is sunny in upper 40s. Tomorrow's supposed to be in the 40s, although cloudy. And then the next couple days are actually up in the upper 50s, but rain. I don't know. We'll see what the what the drip rate is, but probably should get some decent sap flow. So I want to try to get these 3 totes emptied today and tomorrow so that I can start refilling them tomorrow. This tractor, it's a Coyote CX35. I know, CK35, excuse me. And I can generally put about 160 gallons in a tote on the back 3-point, weight-wise. You could do 180, but man, she starts screaming trying to get that 3-point all the way up. 150, 160, and then I could put on the front forks about 120 in a tote before it gets too heavy. Although it's harder to go in the woods. Once you have a lot of weight on the front, steering isn't as good, and it's so much longer. So generally, I just run one on the back. But I'll go through the woods collecting into that one tote until I get to the 150, 160 gallon point, and then come up to the house, put it in the driveway, grab the next tote, go back out. The other day, I think it was Friday, we ended up collecting, ended up doing 450 gallons in one day. It's either Friday or Saturday. And yeah, filled up 2 totes. I have a transfer pump too, so sometimes once I get, I have multiple totes that are obviously only about halfway full, I'll pump it out of the one into the other to fill it up. I try to put the totes back in the shade as much as possible to keep them cool so the sap doesn't spoil. Transfer pump it around. Better half just said it smells amazing, and I absolutely agree. Standing right here smelling the sap. I wish I could put the smell and make smell-o-vision and put it on there for you, because guys, it is nice. It is fun. I've done it in the past, but I've been thinking about doing another giveaway this time of maple syrup. I shipped some to Europe for one of you guys. Anyone else outside of the syruping area interested in syrup? Yes, Chris, it is one of the best smells. Although sawdust coming off a sawmill is a pretty good smell too. But for those of you guys watching that are outside of the maple belt, have you ever tried real maple syrup? Not the Mrs. Buttersworth type of syrup in the store, but real, genuine maple syrup. I know it's available in stores, but outside of the maple region, it's not as common. You know, obviously you don't see it on the side of the, roadside stands or whatever, but drop a comment. If you're outside of the syruping belt, if you will, the Northeast, have you ever had maple syrup? Comment on it. I'm curious to see.
Gen X said you need Professor Farnsworth for television.
Nice, Gen X. Very nice.
And then that Mockery Farm said I sent you an email about a bottle last week.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the email. I'll check on it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll check after the live. I'll check my emails. If I don't have something from you, I'll send you a message on one of your videos or whatever and see if I can get it to work. I apologize. I didn't mean to ignore you. I just didn't see it. But yeah, we can definitely work something out. Shipping maple syrup's not terrible. I think I shipped 2 small bottles over to Europe and it was like $36, which is a lot, but that's overseas, of course, right? I can stick some bottles. I use glass bottles, but they're really stout, and I package them well. I can drop one in a flat rate box and anywhere in the country for, anywhere from $10 to $25, depending on which size flat rate box. Not terrible bad.
Hiking with Jackie Boy says that's an interesting process.
Yeah, so far I've shipped, over the years, I've shipped syrup to Texas several times, California, Puerto Rico once, Virginia, pardon? Oh yeah, I've shipped to Ohio too. Missouri, I think, once as well. I got friends all over, so I met someone once when I was actually in California, a California colleague of mine and one from Puerto Rico, and I was telling them all about this, and it was before I had the channel, and so I had some videos on my phone, but not a lot, and they were fascinated by it, and they're like, we're like, I've never seen the process, I've never tasted real maple syrup, because it's a luxury in Puerto Rico and it's not super common. Well, when we travel, I generally travel with the family, and so they love pancakes in the morning at the hotels, so we generally take our syrup with us. So we shared it, and they were just blown away. So I was like, when we get home, I'll send you a bottle. I shipped that off to Puerto Rico, and man, they just enjoyed it. Now, one of my friends makes mead. I normally uses honey, right? But he actually used a bunch of my maple syrup this year, end of last year rather, and made some maple mead. And really, really interesting process. Of course, I've been around maple my whole life, but I've never tried making mead. He has a channel, Two Wheels and Barbecue. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's interesting. The maple flavor kind of disappears and it's just the sweetness of it. But if you're curious about that, check out his channel. It's interesting. But I've made maple candy. I've used maple syrup a lot when I do barbecue. I use it like as a binder. But yeah, maple mead. Very, very sweet, but it's like 13% alcohol content. So, a little early in the day for me yet to try that out, or more than a sip or two, but it's good stuff. But it's interesting what you can do with maple. One of my favorite things to do is making barbecue burnt ends, and a lot of times you use like brown sugar in that. Well, I started using maple syrup instead of brown sugar, and it actually puts a nice maple touch to it. It's interesting. But maple candy, I have a friend who's actually makes maple frosting for like cookies and cakes and such. That's cool. But if any of you guys like sweetened coffee, my favorite thing to do is in a cup of coffee, put like a teaspoon of maple syrup in the bottom. Oh yeah. Or if there's snow on the ground, you can make sugar on snow, which is a very New England, up north, Upper Peninsula type tradition. You actually take the maple syrup, you cook it a little bit farther, and then you pour it on fresh snow, especially if you pack the snow. It works better if you pack it. And it makes like a maple taffy. That is tasty. But it can sometimes like get ice crystals embedded in the taffy, essentially. It's nice. I tried it this year for the first time because, let me rephrase. The first time I've tried making it. As a kid, my grandpa used to do it. I forgot to pack the snow down. So when I poured it on, it was warm, of course, and it goes and disappeared. I got some video of it. I haven't posted it because the video wasn't amazing. I really forgot to do the packing down part. But it's fun. I like using maple in a lot of things. Obviously, pancakes, waffles, French toast. But there's so many other things you can do with it. It's fun. Hiking with Jackie Boy, what area are you at? Chris, what haven't you had in years, though? Sugar on snow? I imagine up in Vermont. I know it's a thing up there, so I would imagine you've had that. It's interesting because I'm in the lower peninsula of Michigan, about an hour north of Detroit. No one around here's heard of it. Even people who've made maple syrup for years have never heard of sugar on snow. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's rarely snow on the ground when you're making syrup here. Look today, first boil of the year, and there's no snow. So unless you keep some from last year and boil it, it's kind of not something to think of, and apparently it's not a thing here. But in the Upper Peninsula, there was always snow, and so it was a common thing to literally draw it off your pan and go make it during the day of boiling.
Hiking with Jackie Boy,
South Texas, Jackie. Interesting. Southeast or Southwest Texas? I imagine you mean Southeast Texas. I spent a couple years working, I called it the armpit of civilization, but El Paso. And no maple trees. South Texas, though, down like Laredo, Hidalgo, McAllen. It's a pretty cool area. Good food. And you can see SpaceX launches, which is kind of cool. Although I will argue that the food's slightly better in West Texas than it is in the South Texas. I like it a little better, at least. San Antonio, nice. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have too many maples down that way, but Jackie Boy, have you had real maple syrup before? H-E-B, I know carries it, but I don't know if you had it. I also imagine it's a little bit warmer down there than it is up here right now. Nice, Chris. You can actually get it there on they crushed ice and pack it like a snowball. Okay. Yes, that would make sense. It'd be the same basic idea. It's you're taking the syrup that's been boiled farther, and you're trying to quickly cool it to make the taffy. So yeah, I could see that.
Well, I guess I have an weekend warrior. You can get sugar on snow here at the local fair in September. They use fine crushed ice and pack it like a snowball. Hiking with Jackie Boy, it's 90 degrees there.
90 right now. Oh. Okay.
I was gonna say 70.
I don't remiss those days. That's a little warm for this northern boy. I know 90's nothing for you guys, but it's a little bit warm for my liking.
We can wear that so that they have like a snow cone, essentially.
Yeah, a snow cone. I wonder if you could make it as a snow cone. Basically, you have the shaved ice in a cone and then drizzle it on top. Because I know you can drizzle it on ice cream, and that's phenomenal. Like kind of like a caramel syrup, but that's interesting, Chris. Might have to try that sometime. I have a friend who has a shaved ice machine. Maybe I'll try that.
Morgan.
So, Jackie boy, have you always been in down the Texas area? Have you ever seen syrup being made before, or helped make it? Do you ever venture up north, or are you just a southern guy?
Hiking with Jackie Boy, it's warm for my liking too. Gen X 45 in Indiana.
Gen X 45. Okay.
That's doable.
45 in Indiana, so similar. So Missouri, Indiana, Michigan, and Vermont are all about the same temp today. Interesting. It's fun too watching the color differences. Since I just started today, obviously it started out pretty near clear, slowly darkening up. In another couple of days, as I get this all going, you'll have really, really light color coming in, and it slowly gets darker, and then the far side, like over here, is finished syrup. It's interesting, you can actually see a drastic color gradient throughout the pan. But it takes a while to get the whole mass up to proper temperature and actually boiled that far, because it holds about 13 gallons, and by the time this gets to be finished syrup, I don't know that I'm actually even going to draw off finished syrup today, and I'll have run probably 400 gallons of sap through it. Maybe just barely going to get to 219 degrees that I needed on that side, but pretty soon I'll have 13 gallons of either finished syrup or mostly finished syrup throughout the pan. And then, so today I might not, but tomorrow and onwards, like every half hour, 45 minutes, I'll be drawing off finished syrup. It's pretty cool.
Hiking with Jackie Boy. I've been up north. My dad was from Ohio, and they lived in Alaska in the 60s.
Alaska in the 60s, okay.
That's a big change.
Alaska to South Texas.
Minus 40 to a bajillion.
Yeah, that's quite the temperature swing. And a difference in vegetation, going from a lot of trees to not as many trees.
Gen X, I'm about to head home with the Zero.
See you, Gen X. Nice seeing you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you watching. Yeah, I thought about doing a live this morning, but the sun would be directly overhead and it was super bright. You probably wouldn't see much. So I had to wait till the sun got behind the house a little bit, but the next few weeks, this is going to be all my days off and some work days too.
That in Melman, spring has arrived too early here. I have a nagging feeling winter will return in April.
So you guys have that same multiple winter job that we have. Seems like you have winter, first spring, second winter, second spring, sometimes a third winter, third spring.
Hiking Jackie Boy, we have a lot of mesquite trees, and then Prescott, something design. Good afternoon.
Hey Prescott, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. You're one of my longest watching people, or have been watching since the beginning. I appreciate it. Thank you. And you're nice and close too, so it's a nice sunny day too. Of course, it's starting to get just slightly, I'd almost call it hazy, like just light cloud cover here.
Hiking Jackie Boy, we go straight from winter to summer.
I remember that hiking. In El Paso, we'd get about 2 to 3 weeks a year, like teens, low 20s, maybe ice once or twice, and then the next week it's 50, 60, and then 90. It was bizarre. I lived there for 2 winters, and both of them, I don't think the winter lasted more than 2 weeks, and it was weird because you get the coat out, and then a week later it was 70. Strange. I worked midnights when I was down there, and so overnight it was 20, 23 degrees. I'd have long sleeves on, a coat, hat, but by lunchtime it was 70, 75. It was bizarre. I guess that's over in the desert more, but it was very strange.
Prescott, you guys, the fog is finally cleared off. I don't see any sun yet.
Okay, interesting, Prescott. Yeah, it was really foggy here this morning. Not as bad as it was about a week ago, but it was still very foggy. It's burning off here closer to like 11, but it was, visibility was probably only a quarter mile here. Then again, it was cold this morning too. Like the pan's somewhat insulated, so you can, that's hence the condensation, but you can touch the outside of the pan, not burn yourself. Keeping an eye on it. I got a float tank on there that's coming off that head tank. Head tank floats down into the float box. But there's a rubber gasket. The float box, basically, it's over here. It's very, very similar to basically a toilet. It shuts off as it floats up. But there's a rubber gasket underneath here. Well, not rubber, more like a foam gasket under here. And I accidentally hit it with the power washer when I was cleaning it this year and ripped it. I got to order a new one. I was hoping it would still work, but not really. It's letting too much through. Basically, it won't close off. So I've been playing around with the valve to try to get the timing right today to keep it level. I like about 1.5 inches depth in my pan of sap. Too much, and it kind of kills the boil. Too little, and of course you burn it, like I did last year. So I've been playing around with that. I got to order up another one of those gaskets. I can't imagine it's more than a few bucks. I just been lazy and didn't do it. But that head tank's about a 40-gallon barrel, and I just bucket it into there and let it float. When the float box is working properly, I know I can come out. I can go about 1.5 hours without having to mess with the pan at all. I don't, because that's how you'd burn pans. I did that last year. But it allows me to only check on it every 15-20 minutes. So I can go in, make lunch, come back out, check on it, go in, eat the lunch with the family, that kind of thing.
Weekend Warrior said, I was wondering how your float box works.
Yeah, Chris, it's an awful lot like a tank on like a, I hate using the word toilet around food, but basically the same idea. As the water level goes down, it opens up the, it's going to be hard to show it, but basically as the water level goes down, it opens up the armature, which is hooked to the float, allowing sap to come in, and then when it raises up, it closes up that the gasket there, seals it up against it. So it can fluctuate itself based on the evaporation rate. You don't have to try to time it. It just takes care of itself. So if the evaporation rate slows down for some reason, starts raining or whatever, then it slows down. Very basic, but very effective. When you have the gasket. The gasket, it's basically just like a foam disc, maybe 1/4 inch thick. But it ripped. It mounts to just a small tiny bolt. Well, it ripped off the bolt. So now it doesn't seal very well because it's got the crack on one side. I don't know.
Craig Ford says hello, Jonathan.
Hey, Craig.
And Lucky Hidden Scratcher says hi.
And Lucky Scratcher, nice to see you too. Craig, congratulations again on hitting 1,000. That was, about a week ago you hit 1,000? Excellent firewood videos. If any of y'all do firewood or interested in firewood cutting, splitting, and all that, Craig's Cords to Coals, awesome videos. Every video he puts out is a solid, well-made video.
Says, thank you. And then Weekend Warrior says, on my 4x12, there was a rubber gasket that was about the size of a silver dollar.
Okay. Yeah, Chris, I mean, I imagine each pan's slightly different and each float box is slightly different. This one's a little bigger. It's probably 2.5 inches, 2 inches. I'll tell my wife it's more like 3 inches, of course. I mean, that's a solid 3-inch circle, right? It's about 2 inches. Little rubber gasket. This is all Smoky Lake. I really like their equipment.
You're getting a lot of laughs.
They're made out of Wisconsin. And so I just stick with all of their stuff. I imagine I could put any company's float box on it, but I got all their stuff. So I mean, how much is foam? I mean, I can't imagine it's that much. If I could cut a perfect circle, I could probably just cut one myself, but I could do that well. So I'll probably just have to order it up. But it's an ingenious system, that float box, and the simplicity of it is just cool. I'm not an engineer, I just use things, but it's one of those well-designed, it's been around for forever, but well-designed, it just works.
Craig Sports says, you probably already mentioned it. What's the heat source? And then Weekend Warrior says, do you know anybody from Wisconsin, Craig?
Yeah, I imagine Craig might know a couple people out there. Craig, my fuel source is natural gas. I'm on one of the busiest roads in the county here. So I made this I go right off gas meter, which is in my driveway. I actually pull it off before it goes into the house even. Teed it in here, put a valve, so I can pull as much natural gas as I want. I've got 2 large burners underneath, about 10-inch diameter burners. If you watch the video I put up this afternoon, Craig, it actually shows a video, or shows a good bit of video of the inside of this arch before I put the pan on it. But basically, these are piped in about, 14-inch pipes to the burners. The burners are about a 10-inch circle. I don't remember how many jets they are, either like 25, 30 jets, something like that. They're about 330 BTUs each. About 330,000 BTUs each. I know you're a firewood guy, but I find natural gas to be very, very inexpensive and fast. This morning I went from, the sap was about 30 degrees when I put it in the pan this morning. I had it to a full boil, rolling boil, in 8 minutes. I don't know that you could do that with lighting a fire.
So Craig says,
But
okay, there you go. Good setup. Cheaper if you pull it before the meter, Winky says. And then Weekend Warrior says, I was thinking that too.
you guys are not the first that has mentioned that to me. The idea did cross my mind.
Prescott says, you get
Yeah, we have Detroit Semco gas here, and I would imagine they would find out. My bigger thing was there wasn't any space between the regulator and the meter. There's a stub of pipe, looks like it's about 3-inch stub of pipe. You wouldn't be able to disconnect it and get it, and I didn't want to deal with the higher pressures. So, yeah, before it'd be nice and cheaper. But my best year yet was 2 seasons ago. I had 5,900 gallons of sap, and I produced 117 gallons of finished syrup out of it. And while it is still tied into the house, so my bill has, of course, got the furnace and everything else, it cost me about $350 in natural gas to make that 117 gallons of finished syrup. That's not bad.
Weekend Warrior says, natural gas is nice too when you're done for the day instead of waiting for the fire to cool.
Exactly. Chris, that is a major benefit. When I'm done tonight, I shut that valve off, instant cessation of heat. I got no further heat. I can just walk back in the house and be done with it. With a fire, you stop feeding the firebox, but you still got coals for hours. And you have to really put a lot more sap in the pan, and you still risk the potential of getting a burn. I know my friends who have the wood burners, or my grandpa, when we used to do it there, was you stop feeding it like 2 hours before you want to be done and kind of coast down. That's 2 hours that you're not at full evaporation rate. Love this natural gas. Shut it off, walk in. So like if I want to boil till 10 p.m., you know, at 9:59, shut the valve, go inside. It's great. Firewood's more traditional and of course smells better, and it's fun. I mean, I who doesn't like a fire, right? But if I had to buy the firewood around here, it would be I mean, $350 gets me what, two and a half face cords. I estimated I would be probably going through about 3 full cords of firewood for that same amount of sap that I did with $350 of natural gas. It's just, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's super easy, super convenient, and super cheap. But of course, it's what you got. Firewood's still a lot better than propane. I've known people who've done propane or start off with propane, and man, a bottle, you know, a 20-pound can of propane doesn't last you very long, only a couple hours. Those people are spending a fortune on propane every year.
Craig says, yeah, I don't fault you for going down nat gas.
I am a traditionalist in a lot of things, and I do love the nostalgia of how it did it with my grandpa. You know, the sugar shack out in the back, you know, kind of thought. I do like it. I have thought about getting a small wood fire arch just to play around with, essentially, but especially with this kind of quantity, man, natural gas is easy. And it was convenient that it was set up right in my driveway. I don't have to pipe this around the house or anything else. I mean, I'm on the blacktop right next to the meter. Super convenient. But wood-fired is cool, and I suspect wood-fired is going to be better if you're going to do an even bigger operation. Like if I was trying to put on like a 2x6, 2x10 pan, or actually those would probably be more like a 4x10 pan. I don't know that my natural gas meter can supply that much natural gas. I was actually worried about it as it is, but I called the gas company, and they said while it may only be rated for 440,000 BTUs or something, it actually can handle more. It's just slightly lower PSI, which would work for my situation. But I don't know that I can put 3 or 4 burners in a row on this setup and still be able to deal with it in the natural gas. Hey, thanks for watching, LTN. Have a good night, my friend. I don't know. I love the natural gas, but I love wood. I kind of miss the fact that I don't do wood, but no chopping, no cutting, no splitting. Not bad. I mean, I own 16 acres, and a fair bit of it's wood, so there's always trees I'm cutting down, blowdowns, all that. But I actually sell it out front as campfire wood. And I'll take that money and I'll put the money towards natural gas. So Craig, do you know anyone who makes syrup? I know Wisconsin's got a lot of syrup manufacturers. In fact, does anyone buy wood from you for the syruping? I know you sell a lot of wood. I imagine most syrup manufacturers want the cheaper wood, more like boiler grade wood, but bubbling away. Interesting, Craig. I kind of thought you might. I don't know. Wisconsin, there's a lot of syrup manufacturers, boilers and everything, but a lot of them I think are on the northern side of Wisconsin. You know, Appleton and north kind of thing, but keeping an eye on the pan. Eventually, a lot of foam builds up on this. Some of the natural minerals and such in it create foam, and occasionally I have to skim it off, and I've been keeping an eye on it, but
Plastic boat pan.
every time I get close to it, it's kind of dissipates on its own, which is nice. So how many subs are you up to now, Craig? I know you just hit 1,000. Are you up to 1,100 yet? I wouldn't be surprised. Your videos are great.
Craig says, I have 4 mature maples in my yard, always debated tapping them. Not sugar maples, though, silver.
Norway maples, Craig, should give out just about as much sugar content as actual sugar maples. Around here, sugar maples, Norway's, black maple, they're all almost the same. Silver maples aren't quite as much, but they're bigger trees, and sometimes that helps out. Honestly, 4 trees will get you enough syrup. I mean, I generally average, I say my rule of thumb is 1 quart of finished syrup per tap in this area. So, I mean, 4 big trees, you might be able to do 2 per tree even. So 7, 8 taps, that's 7, 8 quarts of finished syrup. If you have time. And of course, that's probably the bigger thing. I never have spare time, and I know you've got quite the wood splitting operation and such, so.
Well, firewood, that is this time.
Hey, Noel. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, what's the weather up there in Canada like today? So far down here, it seems like folks from Missouri, Indiana, Michigan, and Vermont have all said that it's in the upper 40s. What's it like up there?
South Texas is the outlier right now.
Well, and that's correct. We have the one from South Texas that was 90 and sunny. Oh, it was sunny today. It's just behind the house now. You have to move to the other side of the house.
It's not even that sunny. It's barely a shadow.
Well, I mean, there's a bit of a cloud haze now.
Noel says melting today.
Nice. Love seeing you use all those old tractors moving the snow around. It's really pretty cool. How many?
Says, Chris, you'll like this weekend. Give me a teaser. Someone told me about the missing legs.
Nice. How many tractors are you up to, Noel? I know I've seen quite a few. I don't know if you sell them and trade them or anything, but how many are you up to these days?
He says, thing.
It's almost time to check the RO system again, make sure that thing's going right. Yep, that's moving on down along. Yeah, better check the head tank too.
Noel says, you have not seen it.
We've not even seen all the tractors? That's got to be quite a few tractors then. There's a little bit in there, probably should put some in. So I just have this barrel that I have the concentrate in. Super high-tech way of doing this. I just bucket it up. I've thought about using the transfer pump and the hoses, but I don't know. Especially later in the season, the concentrate spoils a lot faster than regular sap because it's got a lot higher sugar content, and I don't want to have spoiled sap in the hoses and such. So I just do it by the bucket. Plus, since I put about 4 gallons in each bucket load, right? 5 buckets gets me a whole hour's worth of boiling. Like those two buckets I just put in, that's another half hour of boiling. 25 minutes. Simple and easy. Yeah, the dog's enjoying the bed again. Yeah, the driveway's nice. It makes the whole operation nice. I got a nice level surface for the whole operation, but gotta move the cars around.
Noel says about 12 running ones. Son has some of them. And then Prescott said, so I missed it. What is the concentrate?
So Prescott, what I do is I take the sap. We collect it in like big IBC totes, 275-gallon white totes. Yeah, we can show it. Hopefully it doesn't go pixelated again.
We're moving towards the
So Prescott, I got this machine here. It's a reverse osmosis machine. It was designed back, I think, in like the 60s and 70s to make drinking water out of salt water. You know, they threw out the salt water and kept the clean drinking water. Well, I just got a hose running out to the yard of the clean water, and I'm keeping the concentrate. Basically, out of the tree, it comes out at like 1.5 to 2.5% sugar content. This can get it up to about 9.5% sugar content before I even put it in the pan. Basically, I can take a 275-gallon tote and reduce it down to like 70, 80 gallons before it even goes into the pan. So it saves me a ton of time and a ton of energy, you know, natural gas to make the syrup. It speeds the process up exponentially. It's a little annoying to run because I prefer just the boiling aspect of it, but it's an extremely effective and extremely cost-effective situation. Got what?
Oh, I fixed it.
Yeah, I don't know why the internet's being a little goofy today, but so basically I start this RO before I even start the pan up to get the concentrate to go in the pan. But I'll run this all day long concurrently with the pan. It just sits here and I move it from tote to tote as needed. But this will be concentrating all day long and then goes right into the pan. So I just recirculate it. I can make it so it goes in one pass, goes from that, 1.5%, 2% to about 5 or 6% in one pass through. I just have the inlet tube and the exit tube just going into the same tote and just recirculating it the whole time, reducing it almost all the way down, and then I pump it out into just a barrel that I can use the buckets to get it out of. This way, I set it up and I can let this sit and run for, I know it's going to take me 5 or 6 hours to get this whole tote RO'd down. So by recirculating it, it allows me to just set it and forget it. I don't have to keep coming back and forth checking it. I just check for the pressure on it to make sure it's operating properly, but I've got hours and hours of hassle-free runtime on it.
Weekend Warrior says, I would try to fix your internet if I was there. I know a guy.
You know a guy, Chris, huh? Might the person's name be Chris? I don't know, like, I've got great internet. I've been sitting out here. I can watch everyone else's YouTubes out here. I'm only, just outside the first room in the house is where the router is. But apparently for lives it doesn't work great. I don't know. My first 2 lives I was about 150 yards, 200 yards into the woods. And that was on tower signal. And that was, well, you guys know, terrible. But I was hoping here in the driveway it would be better. It kind of seems like if I don't move around much and move the camera much, it's working. But
So that was the first time you had an audio.
true, that was the first audio issue we've had.
It says it's still going.
Still full battery. Maybe because I was leaning to that drum though, pulling out the bucket. If that was the time, I could see it making a little bit more of a robot voice, because it kind of echoes a little bit in the drum. Make goofy noises. But yeah, so this is the RO system. Pretty much all larger operations of Serping.
Warrior says it's because you're uploading so dumb.
Okay, see now the actual experts in the house telling me what's wrong, because I don't know. But yes, I just got a hose going out to the other side of the yard to keep it out of some of the water out of the driveway. But all your big operations use the reverse osmosis systems. Some of the big ones, like if you're like a real commercial operation, I mean, they're $20,000 machines, but they have like a fire hose coming out the end and not this little PEX tubing. And some of the really, really professional grade ones like those actually can go up to almost 30% sugar content before it hits the pan. So, I mean, you're cutting your boil down by 90%. Very effective, but very expensive. This is the hobby size. It's effective and nice. It runs concurrently. Switch it back to the and open that valve up a scooch more. Tap that Sugar Shack. Nice seeing you, sir. I don't remember off the top of my head, what kind of RO system you run? This is a single post 4x40 membrane. Mine's by RO Bucket for the hobbyists like me. See up there, you're probably going to run like a liter, I would imagine then. Yeah, RO Bucket it's an interesting story. It's a company that a high school teacher out in New York designed a reverse osmosis system with his class for science class in high school. I think it was a science and shop class. And it took off like a bottle rocket. He made it actually in a 5-gallon bucket. The whole system fit into a bucket. Obviously, it's a slower system, but he was able to sell it to the hobbyists who, you know, maybe at 50 taps, 60 taps. And even now, you can get the base one for like $350, $400. Very inexpensive way to get into RO. I find it cool that a high school teacher found himself a new business just by teaching his students. It's really pretty cool.
It's about a 15-second delay between what you say and what you drunk.
Interesting. So my better half is watching the comments, letting me know what y'all are telling me. She says it's about a 15-second delay between what I'm saying right now and when it's coming up on her phone. It's kind of interesting. Is that good or bad, Chris? Is that a good upload or?
I mean, I guess now that we're not printing as much, because we split the internet to be half the whatever. Weekend Warrior says that is very cool.
Oh, Weekend saying because if I'm uploading the video, it's slower because then that's why I could watch the videos here.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. My bad. Misunderstood. But for the next couple weeks, a lot of your guys' videos I'll be watching sitting here while I'm watching the pan. Between Facebook and YouTube is when I generally spend a lot of the time while I'm out here. So Tap That Sugar Shack, how's your season looking? I don't think you've started yet, right? But is it looking like it should be a good season for you guys, weather-wise? Here we had a real cold winter, which historically has definitely been beneficial for us for production-wise. Roast marshmallows over that. Yeah, I guess the kids could get sticks, whittle a stick, and roast their marshmallow over it.
Craig asked you, the water from the RO, like your head?
Craig, actually, yes. We have well water here. I like it. My wife is not as keen on it. We generally fill up a bunch of water jugs and for her to drink from the RO water. But I mean, obviously, out of 600 gallons, I have 650 gallons of sap. I'm gonna probably be pulling out, off the top of my head, roughly 400 gallons of the water. I like to drink water, but not that much. It's purified water. I know in other areas, I've heard actually weed growers use that for their watering their plants. Apparently, it's better than just using like well water or whatever because it is pure water. I don't know anyone who grows that particular substance, so I don't know. I just dump it out. I save what we want for drinking purposes, and I also save a drum's worth for cleaning the RO. At the end of the day, you end up flushing the system out to clean out all the sugars.
Craig says, wow, bottle it.
So I use it to flush too. There's actually is a market for maple sap water. People actually take the raw sap, that one, the 1.5–2.5% sugar content, and actually bottle that and sell it as like a drinking water because it's got minerals and such in it, right? More power to them. I don't see the business potential there, but when I'm collecting, I sometimes will bring a cup with me and drink the water, or if I'm sitting out here and get thirsty, yeah, I take my mug and dip it in the RO water or whatever. But a lot of people do a lot of different things with maple, and it's a lot has to do with business, right? If there's the business and the market for it in your area, great. I've heard of someone in Michigan, an RO syrup manufacturer in Michigan, ROing and putting the clean water in clean totes, and that's how they transported it to those grow facilities. Obviously, they had to know the person, I would imagine. I don't know what they get money-wise for that. I would struggle to think it's worth the fuel cost to drive it to wherever, but good on them that they can make some use out of it. It'd be nice. Throwing away all that water's, if I could sell it, that'd be awesome.
Weekend Warrior, how long does it take to flush your RO? I've never had one.
Chris, I generally do it about half hour. I'll put the intake hose into the clean water, flush out for about 15–20 seconds to get as much of the actual concentrate out of the system as I can, and then I just either circulate it in the wastewater dump barrel, or I just shoot it out for about 30 minutes or so. If I'm not going to run the RO for 24 hours or more, then I'll run an RO soap through it, which is mostly just like a food grade lye, and that'll basically cleans the whole system. So then I'll rinse it with, I'll run the soapy water out of like a 5-gallon bucket for half an hour, and then the clean water for another half hour. But like if I'm going to RO today till late in the evening and then I'm going to start up again in the morning, I'll just circulate the clean water for 30 minutes or so. Especially in the cooler weather, it's not. I don't use the soap as often. You know, I use the soap at the beginning of the season and the end of the season, of course. But then in between, I'll do that every. Again, if I'm not running it for 24 hours, I'll do it. But if I know I'm going to RO again tomorrow, I just flush it with the clean water. You know, the soap's not expensive. It's not difficult to do, but it's just takes that extra half hour or so. So Chris, what kind of wood are you milling up next? What species of wood do you have on deck to do? I really wish you were closer. I bought a project truck, a 1953 Ford. It's a stake bed, and some of the boards are pretty well worn out. So I'm going to try to find some oak and have it milled up, as it were. But it'd been awesome if you were closer and I could just drive it and mill it up at your place. Then I get to watch you mill it in person, which would be fun. But pine wood, okay. I bet that pine smells really good as you mill it, right? I know pine smells good when you're chainsawing it, so I've got to imagine milling it smells pretty good too. Chris, how long have you had that mill? I know you've been putting videos out for a bit, but how long have you had it?
Yeah, I would build some oak for you.
It's getting close on that side. I'm watching my thermometer because basically, while you do generally check based on the percentage of sugar, you can tell pretty close to when syrup is done by temperature. 7 degrees above the boiling temperature of water on that day. I know it's normally 212, but it can vary slightly based on atmospheric pressure and such. So normally, when this gets to 7 degrees above, I know I got finished syrup, but I don't think I trust this one. It's been knocked about a little bit. Pretty soon here, I'll have to go get a different thermometer and check it. I might be pushing syrup through here quicker than I thought.
I think it's the 2020.
So a 2023 mil, okay. So you've had it for a little bit. The trailer you made for it's really pretty neat. I've seen people put mills and such on trailers, but using that as your deck surface, that was a really smart idea.
Noel said, okay, gotta go, have fun.
Have a good one, Noel. Enjoy your evening.
Craig's gotta go.
All right, Craig, nice seeing you too, man. Have a great evening.
I only know Weekend Warrior says thanks, that trailer.
So according to my phone, it looks like we got 10 watchers in here at the moment. Anyone have any other questions? Where's everyone from? Join the conversation. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking all the time.
Prescott says, need Keith to get a sawmill, then he was close to both of us. I need a few slabs for my CNC.
Yes, I've been trying to convince Heath to buy a mill for about a year now. We have a friend, a mutual friend that has one, but the guy doesn't want to sell it, and he'll let you borrow it, but then he needs it back every few weeks, and it's not, it's kind of a lot like Chris's, where it's not designed to be a portable unit, so the setup and takedown is going to be a pain to get everything leveled and everything. But yes, I think he would be great. Watching him cut up those beech logs last year, it just hurt, because that would have made some beautiful lumber with because it had a really light outside and a really dark heartwood. That would have made some nice lumber. I mean, they made decent firewood, but anything can make firewood. It would be cool if he got one. He's getting big enough, though. Maybe he can eventually get one of the mill companies to give him one for free, or get him one for a discounted price. But then again, he's got so many irons in the fire that he'd have it for a while before he even got to play around with it. He's a busy, busy man. In fact, I follow a few sawmill channels, actually. I think 4 or 5. But they're Vermont and Ontario and Maine. I'm trying to think of where the other ones are from, but none of them are very close. Makes it more of a challenge. I do know of a couple sawmill companies fairly local to this area that I've actually dropped logs off there before. I cut a black walnut tree down at a neighbor's house a couple years ago. Actually, it was quite a few years ago now. And I took the logs to them and they milled it up and all. And that was fun. But it'd be more fun to mill it yourself. Or watch it milled.
Because Warrior Tom said that the slow woodcraft is near enough, I think.
Bigelow Woodcraft. Interesting. I don't know that I know them. This evening I'll see if I can search for them and see if I can pull that channel up. That'd be interesting. Because Chris, I know I got you on here. I got Mainly, and then the one up in Ontario. The name escapes me at the moment. Of course, as soon as I start talking, I forget the name of the channel. But and then there's a second one that I watch. I mean, Bissell Maple has a sawmill too. I think that's what he does on the off season. But I think he's out. I think New York. Could be wrong on that one. I follow enough channels, I forget who's who and where they're all at, but I'm pretty sure he's in New York. I think someone did a muffler delete on that truck. True. Bed delete, muffler delete. Looks like he's got a lot of speed holes, weight reduction.
I have made one flat with my chainsaw and the board to help me keep it. I scrape my eye.
Okay. So let's see, what time is it getting to being?
4:30. 4:22.
Almost 4:30. Huh. I guess I gotta decide what to make for dinner. What are y'all having for dinner? I don't know. Got a lot of venison in the freezer. Make something up with that. I don't know. I'll ponder it. But it's a fun thing.
Warriors gotta go. I have to cut a PTO shop for my new to me.
Cool. That's going to be interesting, Chris. Hopefully you're doing a video on that. It'll be cool to see. But have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Prescott says pancakes and fresh syrup.
Now, that's a good idea. Actually, my eldest daughter was mentioning that today would make a good dinner. Well, she said breakfast, and I didn't have it made by then, but maybe for dinner.
I say French toast, but I have to do French.
Last year I made a short where I actually had them line up with their plates of French toast, and we poured it right from the spigot right onto their plates, and they thought that was cool. We'll have to do that again this year.
I said it's good.
Yeah. A little warm, but there'll be lots of opportunities this year to do that.
No. 11 miles. I only know of 3.
Even though the sun's behind some clouds now, it's still a pretty nice day out. My wife thinks it's cold, but she runs slightly colder than I do. Plus, I guess I'm standing right next to this and she's not. Did you want the mic, dear, and stand by the stove? Pardon? She's not as keen on being on video, so. If we weren't video and weren't on a live, she'd be right here. Right next to the heat source, but it's all good. Yeah, with this weather up here, the ice is finally breaking up on the river. I imagine we're going to have some fishing starting up pretty soon. A lot of good walleye fishing in this area. I go out occasionally, but it's not my thing. But fresh walleye, making some fish tacos out of that, delicious. It must be getting closer to dinner time. I'm thinking about food and making me hungry. I just don't have everything to make walleye tacos, but yeah, I follow a bunch of fishing channels too. A lot of them are doing catfishing right now, like Tennessee area, but I like watching fishing. I enjoy it once in a while, but I get too bored going out there and not catching stuff for hours. I think I got too much of the ADHD for that, but I definitely like eating the fish. That's a fact. That is a fact. I mean, I put a lot of time, effort, and money into this figure. I don't want it to go to waste, you know what I'm saying? But, so the dog is going belly up to get pet, and he's rolling right off of his bed.
Prescott says, I have to go. Just found out I have to go with my son to get my truck back.
All right, see you, Prescott. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you watching. Good luck on the truck. Yeah, he's just rolled right off the bed, but getting pet, so he likes it. He's super old, so he tends to stay pretty well. In his younger days, he would have been gone, but yes, my wife calls it, he takes himself for a walk. But it's not as nice when it's for an unknown length of time down to the river, you know what I'm saying? But now that he's older, he's calmed down a bit. I'm going to check the RO again. It's been running pretty good today. Keeping a steady pressure. I'm actually running it at 200 PSI, so I like keeping an eye on it just to make sure she sits right about 200 PSI. It normally doesn't vary, but if something gets obstructed in there, like one of the filter screens gets plugged, or the intake hose gets a chunk of ice in it or something, the pressure can vary. So I keep an eyeball on it, but See, since we moved the camera, you guys might be curious to see. That's the clean drinking water coming out. That's all the fresh water coming right out. Oh, you want some?
Yes.
But that's the fresh water coming out of it. That's pure water, no sugar content at all. So that is, of course, what the steam is on the pan, but before it even has to go there. All right, I'll be nice.
Oh, good.
Reasonably so.
Thanks.
So I just end up sticking it into this piece of garden hose. Just otherwise all the water's right in my driveway. This shoots it out over into the yard a bit more, just to make things easier.
What does that?
So it's about time to put another bucket or two in the head tank, I think. See, the drum's getting almost empty. So, in the time that it took me to boil down from about here down of this drum, so 40 gallons, 45, so a little over 2 hours, I've taken this IBC tote. It was all the way up here. Now she's all the way down there. All that is just the water I've boiled off. So when I finish the drum off, I'll have to pull some of the RO concentrated. It won't be completely concentrated. It'll be more like probably 6% sugar. But I'll put 15 or 20 gallons of that in to keep it going and keep the boil going until the whole tote is finished. I can just RO that, put that 6% into the into the drum, and then recirculate the drum. That also works. I just really want to keep that pan going, because while I can RO, I have to boil to get to finished syrup. So I'd rather keep that pan going and feed it with slightly less concentrated sap than shut the pan down while waiting for fully concentrated sap. Could do either or. I've done both. But simple and easy. Try to keep the whole operation as simple and easy as I can. Let's see. So this is what my day ends up being. Pretty much the entire day is just running the RO, making sure that's operating properly, making sure my pan's boiling well, keeping it going. I like it because it makes me slow down a bit too. Like, while I can go work on a project for 10 or 15 minutes here and there, 20 minutes, I kind of have to stay around the area, around the pan, keeping an eye on it. Gives me an excuse to sit down, relax, watch some of y'all's channels, drink some coffee. Just kind of chill out here.
We'll be in not too long.
Last year, at the very end of the season, I tried to do a couple projects I had to do in the yard. I figured I knew I had about half hour I could be gone. Well, I ended up being gone for like 37 or 38 minutes, and man, I just toasted the pan. If you want to see an absolute mess and a grown man pretty near crying, watch that video from last year. Man, it was terrible. Like, it was literally crisp ash like this just everywhere. Oh my goodness, that was a pain. Not only did I destroy like 13 or 14 gallons of finished syrup, but it was just hours of trying to clean the pan. Pressure washing it. You can't scrub too much because you don't want to put scratches into the stainless steel, because that'll trap dirt and burn easier in the future. So you have to use very non-abrasive things, and it was just took forever. But one trick I have found in the last couple years that I've used just in normal cleaning, and I used for this too, was I filled the pan up with sap at the end of season, like spoiled sap, covered it and put it in the barn. Yeah, it stank all summer long. Not all summer, but for a while it stank. But basically, that sap became natural vinegar as it, well, it rotted basically. But it made that a fairly low-grade vinegar, and man, it cleaned the pan nice. Really like doing that. And it's as simple as filling it up with sap, sticking it in the barn. Super easy. And cheap because it's free sap. But it's a very effective cleaning for normal usage and for burn pans.
No comments yet.
But I learned that hack a couple years ago and started using it, I think 2 years ago. Last year I just put the pan in my garage, but it started to smell pretty good. So I put it out in the barn instead, but it's effective. Very, very effective. Looks like a little bit. All right, depth. After I built and designed this evaporator arch, ended up having to put this plate on that side, about 8-inch, 9-inch plate, because the oil drum was longer than my pan. I could have fit a 2x5 pan on here, I think, just barely, and I wish I had, because that would have been that would be nice. Even faster evaporation rate. It's kind of one of those things you always wish you went bigger, right? I kind of wish I had the 2x5 or even the 2x6. They make a 2x6 on this one. Of course, that I'd have to build an extension to it, but wasted space. But the pans are not cheap, and so I don't really want to go out and buy another one since I have this one. On the really cold mornings, though, works great as a coffee warmer. Of course, on the hot days you don't want it, but one of my favorite coffee mugs. My kids got this for me for Father's Day. Pretty cool cup. I've been known to say some dad jokes from time to time. Since a few of you guys are watching, I'll tell you one right now. Do you know why the Swedish Navy put barcodes on the front of their warships? So when the ships come back into port, they can Scandinavian. I never said it was a good joke, all right? It's a dad joke. Definitely starting to fall a little bit in here. That's natural. Some of the foam will eventually dissipate on its own. Sometimes I have to skim it off. I switched to this pan from a 2 foot by 2 foot, just flat bottom pan, and that was nice. I got about a 4.5, 5 gallons an hour evaporation rate on that pan. Then I'm upgraded to this one, and holy moly, is it a difference. That pan, I sold that one before I had my own YouTube channel, but you can see a video of that one in operation on Hardworking Man's channel. One of his first videos ever was on maple syrup, and it was actually here. We made some syrup out of his sap when he started his channel. And eventually he convinced me to make my own channel, and here we are today. But the Smoky Lake Hybrid pan, this whole section here has accordions on the bottom. The pan just goes up and down. There's like, I think, 11 flutes. It allows for a lot more heat transfer from the heat source to the sap, so it increases your evaporation rate. Makes it more expensive, but it is pretty nice. But of course, that 2 foot by 2 foot pan I think cost me $250, and this is more like a $2,500 pan. But going from 5 gallons an hour of evaporation to almost 19 to 20 on this pan, twice the top surface area for 4 times the evaporation rate. Very, very effective. When I had that flat pan, I was running generally 50 to 60 taps. I didn't have an RO. The next year I put in like 125 taps and bought the RO system, but I was still really finding the bottleneck with the boiling. So I upgraded to this pan. I figured 2x4 would be plenty big enough for me, and it is until you want to put more taps in. I find myself always wanting to put more taps in. And you know, when my best year ever, I had 425 taps, and it was a lot. It was tough to keep up with it. Even between ROing and the boiling, I kept up, but it was difficult. There were a lot of 16, 17-hour days running this. Made a lot of good syrup out of it, but it took a long time. For those of you guys watching, any other questions? Anyone have a question on the system I can try to answer? Either how I do it, why I do what I do. Any questions? I'd be happy to try to answer them. Besides the smell-o-vision. Don't know how to invent that yet. I wish I could. This steam coming off, very nice. Warm, but nice. Getting a little bit of foam buildup on the one side. I use this kosher grade defoamer. You sprinkle just a touch of that in there. It's like salt granules, I guess. You just sprinkle a touch of that in there. It prevents the sap from forming bubbles, apparently. It's completely food grade. It's sold by maple producers or maple companies. Highly, highly effective. Smells delicious. Definitely got a lot of traffic on the road right now.
I don't really know what to do.
Yeah, midweek. Apparently it's still, I guess it's almost 5, so maybe it's just people getting out of work or whatever. It just seems like there's more traffic than normal. Of course, all winter I'm not sitting out here for a couple hours listening to traffic, but... Definitely getting darker too. I think maybe by the end of the evening, dear, we'll be actually pulling off finished syrup. Upstairs. Generally, what I do is I giant stock pot with finished syrup. I'll draw it off. Just put this pot here, draw it off. Especially if I'm drawing off every hour or so, I'll pull off half a gallon when this thing's fully running. Half a gallon, 3/4 of a gallon every, somewhere in that 30 to 45 minute area. I'll wait till I get a bunch of it together. That stock pot's giant, so I can generally fit 5 or 6 gallons in it at least. I'll fill that up, and then I'll get out the filter press and I'll heat that pot back up again over a propane burner to get it to 190 degrees. Run it through the filter press and jar it from there. I find trying to jar down the syrup works best, and it seems more effective to do it in batches, in larger batches, than trying to do it every, a gallon here, a gallon there kind of a thing. And for those of you guys still watching, I'm going to be doing more lives as we do the syruping season. I'll probably do some different times of the day for folks who may not be available in mid-afternoon. But do a few more lives, going to have some more videos coming out. How I do what I do and why I do it.
Blue Moon colors. Yeah. The children are little.
Well, guys and gals, been live for almost 2 hours now. I think I'm going to call it for right now. The kids are starting to get, there's a little restlessness in the ranks, as it were, about dinner. So I want to sign off today, go work on dinner, and I'll keep an eye on this. I'll be running this till probably 10 p.m. tonight. But thanks for watching. Super appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in. If you aren't subscribed, feel free to hit that button. I'd appreciate it. Until next time, have a wonderful day, guys.
Oh, it doesn't have an on.